Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more. So we know Cortez, and we know Rita, and Bonnie, kind of. That's Cortez's grandma, Rita's mother. We know Jem and Mary Martha and her dad. Not Mary Martha's dad, but um, Mary Martha and Jem's father. And and now we're going to look at Boosh Bay and the Red Mill and kind of the history there. Okay, here we go. While the godly folk of Boosh Bay, Michigan spent their Sunday mornings in the pew and the choir loft, the majority of her residents were at home in bed sleeping off the night before. Sunday mornings between 10:30 and noon, on the dot, the streets were silent except for the hushed passing of an infrequent, errant, single car innocent of good, evil, or purgatory. Probably just passing through. The whole city felt as if it were holding its breath, waiting for its life to begin again. When the church bells rang the second time on Sundays, everyone flooded out of the churches, knowing that their sins were forgiven, or forgotten, at least by God. The chill of autumn had definitely set in for good now, and the touch of winter was felt in the brisk air. The trees had lost their glory of October and were evoking the vacated joy that November gave, their lush summer limbs forgotten. They scratched at the gray, heavy clouds in the low sky with their bare, black branches, while brown, dried-up, crunchy leaves swirled in chilled wind. The city of Boosh Bay clustered around the curved shoreline of Lake Huron, nestling around a bay that offered an enormous outlet to the lake. This town had been inadvertently established in the previous century due to its proximity to the lake. Access to the water meant shipping. Shipping meant money, lots of it, for those who could build ships, trade goods, or pour liquor for the lumbermen and the sailors that found themselves in mixed society after months away from women and jail. As the demand for lumber grew, businesses sprang up along the east side of the divide. Initially a trading post where the Ojibwa native peoples traded with white men, Boosh Bay morphed into a viable town. Within 5 years of the end of the Civil War, a sawmill, a pier, hotel, saloon, and a post office appeared. The construction and lumber industries, feeding off each other, boomed through the 19th century. Boosh Bay became a vital link, supplying lumber for the rest of the country and the insatiable desire for hardwood lumber in England. The news of the river of cash flowing into Boosh Bay seduced men and women from the surrounding areas, including Indian reservations. Men who were associated with owning any part of shipping, distribution, or forestry became rich practically overnight. Women set their sights on either a rich husband or a wealthy clientele. The impact on the cash flow was evident in the peripheral businesses that grew like mushrooms along the east bank of the divide, all cobbled together in a haphazard needs-first pattern, mostly hugging the riverbank of the Great Divide River. The divide was the confluence of several smaller rivers, leading to Huron Bay. The river cut the city in half, each side carving distinct territories to choose from. The west side of town had appealed to the gentry who settled in elegant houses made from the hardwood harvested in the north. There were defined class levels within the gentry, designated by address, neighborhood, and size of home. In the halcyon days of Boosh Bay, the vast forests of the north seemed like they could never be depleted. The feeder rivers to the divide were continually jammed with logs hewn from the dense forests. Men made a lot of money if they could merely swing an axe and tolerate the weather and the isolation. The crews, fed and housed by the logging company, had no need for money. So when they returned to Boosh Bay after a few months of logging, they lined up for their pay, and then they eagerly satiated their long-ignored lusts. Liquor, women, and hot baths were bountiful on the east side, drawing the hungry, the loud, the dirty, the low class. It quickly gained a notorious reputation of drunken, wild nights filled with fighting, stealing, vomit, blood, cheap, bountiful sex, and murder. withstanding more than a century of crime. Blah, blah, blah.